Good morning, Jeremy. Today we're going to discuss the 5 top most frequently asked questions for your program in cloud computing. Let's start. What is cloud computing and app development?
So cloud computing and app development, we're still developing apps like we've always been. So we're building apps for iOS, but we're also moving a little bit more to the cloud. So the cloud is very expandable. It's very secure. So you're not paying people to actually maintain the security side of it. That's all handled by the cloud provider. The main one we're using right now is AWS. So they handle all the servers, all the security of the sites, all that kind of stuff. All you have to worry about is your content. So as an app developer, you worry about coding the app. You don't worry about setting up actual servers and rack space and paying for all that structure.
So, what kind of jobs are available in this field?
So the jobs you can either get jobs with companies where you're developing websites or developing iOS applications. So basically, we're programming. So we do iOS programming and web development programming. So you can build the entire backend system, like the database and that kind of stuff, and then you can also build the front end that the iOS app talks to. So basically, any kind of application that you're making on your phone, where like you can actually kind of use your phone to contact all the database and that kind of stuff. That's the kind of apps that we build. So stuff that's mobile first and that people can access real quickly. It's also really great because as a programmer, you can actually show the stuff that you've built to people because they can download themselves off the App Store. You can also be your own independent developer. You get a 70-30 cut. So for every app that you have in the App Store, if it sells for $1, you get 70 cents. I would highly recommend actually start out working for a company so you get your feet wet a little bit more. It's a lot more steady pay. But if you really want to be your own boss, you can do that.
And can students work remotely with this job?
Yeah, you can definitely work remote, and we actually train you for that. So we actually do remote interviews, and then we have a little bit of a remote class setup. So you actually have a remote lab before you graduate, where you'll actually work on at least one remote project to get your feet wet and get kind of used to the concept. We're actually working with a couple of companies to get more remote work out this way. We work with companies like Rule and Remote. They're actually on our advisory board. We also have a local company, Goodland Tech, that they're working with getting some technology business out this way.
What kind of pay can one expect to make in this field?
Yeah, it just depends on how hard you work at getting your portfolio together and all that stuff. But generally, most of our previous students are making between $40,000 to $80,000 a year starting pay.
And what kind of certification or training do you offer to help with the job placement?
Okay, yeah. So the first thing that we really focus on is make sure you get an app in the App Store. That's one of our biggest pushes. Your portfolio is huge. Then you're also going to get the Amazon Web Services Certified Cloud Practitioner, which is basically saying that you know how to use all the tools and services to get stuff up into the cloud. And we kind of implement that throughout the whole course. So you're actually going to be pushing your portfolio up to the cloud using code pipelines and that kind of stuff.
So, what kind of tools or equipment would a student need for the trade?
So this is one where we do need a Macintosh computer. For iOS development, you have to have a Mac because that's what Xcode runs on and that's what the simulators run on. For everything else, for the web development, you could do it on Windows, but I highly recommend a Mac because on the Mac, you can develop for iOS, Android, and Windows stuff.
Which programming languages do you use?
So we focus on the iOS side of things. We focus mostly on Swift. So we're using the Swift and the Swift UI. We're always trying to keep the most current on the iOS side. Then on the website, we're using basic HTML, JavaScript, CSS, but we're also using React Native so that we do build some apps that can compile to both iOS and Android. We also do a lot of database coding, so making sure you can do that full stack. So we'll do a lot of Node.js and creating web servers that your iOS app can connect to.
What is a normal day like in your program?
So generally, we'll start off with a little bit of a lecture or kind of a lab type thing where we kind of go over some basic concepts. Then you have a little bit of like a more like tutorials, that kind of stuff, and then you have your own work project you will go on. We don't focus a lot on just doing like multiple choice tests and that kind of stuff. We really focus on lab-driven kind of work. So I want to see you actually build the project and build the applications, and then we'll run the applications, make sure they compile, make sure they run, and then you'll get your grade based off of that. So a lot of your work that you're turning in is basically an actual application that would be the same kind of application you turn into the store.
So, very hands on, in other words.
Yes, extremely hands on.
Good morning, Annette. Today we're going to cover frequently asked questions for your program. Let's begin. What is the CGT program? And what does the program cover?
The CGT program stands for Computer Graphics Technology. And what we really do is merge creativity and art into technology to create communication solutions for businesses and individuals.
What skills does your program teach?
We cover a lot of stuff: graphic design, web design, video production, animation, motion graphics, photography, and traditional graphic design. We combine them together and work on them individually.
What kind of software and equipment does your program use?
We focus mainly on the Adobe Creative Suite. It's kind of the industry standard software. The main ones we focus on within there are Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Lightroom, Dreamweaver, Premiere Pro, Adobe Rush, After Effects, and starting to do a little bit more with Adobe XD and some of their newer, more experimental software as well. We have several DSLR cameras. Last year, we were able to purchase a 6K Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and that's been a lot of fun. We also have a screen printing lab and a photo studio with complete setup of professional lights. We have digital display Wacom drawing tablets, vinyl cutters. So we do a lot of vinyl signage, whether it's for like cars or signs or even just stickers. A sublimation print press and a sublimation printing for doing like apparel design or reprint on t-shirts. You can also print onto socks or coffee cups, or there's a whole bunch of stuff. We have a lot of fun with that.
What makes your CGT program unique?
So we run a full service design studio out of our program as well. Our students, from the very first day they're here, they start working on real world clients' projects. Those are from concept to completion. The minute the client comes in, they help develop and work off a creative brief, using that to go through and estimate time, cost, all of that stuff for clients. Those are a lot of our hands-on projects, and those can be anything from simple logo design to a complete video production project with filming, editing, effects, type, all of that stuff. Outside of client work, our classes utilize all of the industry standard software, hardware. We're an Apple campus, so all of our students work on Apple computers, and those are kind of an industry standard for creatives as well.
Good morning, Weston. Today we're going to talk about some of the frequently asked questions for your program today, and let's begin. What is precision agriculture?
So precision agriculture is a term that's coined by industry about 20 years ago when we started adding a lot more electronics and computer-based controls to tractors. So precision agriculture has grown to encompass the kind of older technical sides of agriculture, the machines and the tractors and planting and crops. But it's also now grown to encompass all the electronics, the computers, the use of satellites and guidance systems.
Why is agriculture so important, and why do you teach what you teach?
Agriculture is arguably the number one industry in the entire world. Number two, on the United States level, the United States has never had so many competitors in the ag sector. And so we're trying to teach these young kids how to play fourth quarter football and still compete relevantly, skill for skill. So I spent 25 years out in industry as a person that recruited talent and a person who was training talent for industry. And we found out that slowly but surely over time, we're getting fewer and fewer people that understand the whole picture, everything they need to know, from economics, the wires and pliers stuff, to some of the more philosophical things like why do we do what we're doing? Can we cut down on our chemical use? Can we figure out how to grow the same amount of crop with maybe 25% less water? Why I teach it? Because there's a lot of meaning in it for me. It was an avenue for me to come back into and teach what I had experienced for almost 25 years and to teach the next generation. That's why we're out here, just trying to keep the best American men and women competitive against a growing ag economy in the world.
What type of equipment will students work with?
So they're going to get everything from books to wires and pliers all the way up to tractors. Just this last year, we built an 8-row precision planting, completely equipped, dual fertilizer, dual hybrid, variable rate planter. And we built 3 of them now from scratch. We also do a lot of work for area farmers. So we're working on planters and putting guidance systems on tractors. We also have a Veris machine, which is electroconductive mapping. So we can go out to various fields and see the soil diversity, if there is any. We do grid sampling. We also have a fully Trimble guidance equipped Kubota ATV that pulls an electromagnetic sled behind it for mapping. Also, over here to my left, we just got a 90-foot case flexi-coil sprayer that we're going to be equipping with variable application and Weed It, which is a weed sensing technology that only turns on the nozzles and sprays when it identifies a weed in order to help the grower reduce their chemical use and their chemical costs. The other thing is that you're going to be able to fly drones here, work with satellite imagery, 160 acres worth of center pivot irrigation. So there's nozzles and drives. We also have 25 acres of drip irrigation. So they're working with subsurface irrigation and emitters. We work with a lot of soil moisture probes and such. We have an indoor roboticized grow room that's up in our campus facility. There's something they can take with them wherever they go.
So what careers can this program lead to?
That's a great question. So what kind of careers can you go into from here? You can go work at a dealership and be working on planters and tractor guidance systems and the integrated technologies. You could go off and work with imagery and ag data. Your whole job is to get data out of a tractor or a grower into a platform, be able to analyze how their yields are for the inputs that they have. There are several of them that we work with. We have a couple of students that have gone out and started flying drones and doing imagery and mapping for a couple of different companies. And then, of course, there's the consultant side of things where you can go work in agronomy, do soil mapping. The big part of our focus is for young producers to go back to the farm and be economically competitive and relevant in a modern ag economy. Stick around long enough because next year there's going to be new jobs that didn't even exist this year, and it keeps going.
What sets your program apart from other ag programs?
Unlike other ag programs that are teaching a lot of fundamental sciences, we're working on things like this. We built this planter from scratch. And we're going to build more. And we don't just build them for ourselves. We have other research groups and other universities that are saying, hey, can I have one of those? Can I have two of those? Can you build me some of those? Or we have farmers with existing equipment saying, hey, can you upgrade my equipment? Can you put a guidance system? Or can you change me over on the tractor I have? The whole premise of our program is to be technically relevant. The thing that sets us apart is that we're very well integrated with industry. We're very well connected with employers, whether it be other producers or retailers. We have a 300-acre technology farm where we're planting real crops and experimenting with things. And so that's the thing that sets us apart from other ag programs. It's all about these right here.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking your time today to talk about some of the frequently asked questions that I know our students would love to know more about.
You are welcome.